All right. Welcome to another episode of Black is Black. I'm excited about today's little podcast. Got a distinguished guest with me today. He's been a long time in public service. He was an Illinois state trooper for many years. His father was a former mayor. And I'd like to introduce to you the distinguished honorable Mayor John Lewis. How you doing, John?
Thanks for having me. Good.
Well, first thing I like to try to establish is, what our connections are. And you and I'm sure have met a few times over the years, but we did have a lot of friends in common. And a few names that pop into my head would be like Dave Flota and Sam Mateer and,
Russ Withers,
yeah,
Minor
Russ,
Pace.
Rex
A bunch of
Alexander,
them. Yes.
Dave Edmondson, John Howard. I mean, yeah, there's a time being from a small town. It's easy to have a lot
Yeah.
of second degree, third degree
Yeah.
connections like that. But anyway, wonderful. Well, get started here a little bit. Was law enforcement your first foray into public service? Was that the first thing you did?
That was first foray into public service. I was in business for myself. I ran an electrical company and a refrigeration company, but I'd always wanted to be in law enforcement.
Right.
Parents always pushing me into the business end because my grandfather and my dad were both in business. And finally, in my early 30s, I said, it's time to do what I want to do.
Right.
And I dropped everything. I got accepted to the Illinois State Police Academy. That was a grueling 6 months. Got through it. Best job I've ever had in my life. Never worked a single day in my life. It was you had a front row seat to the circus and nobody telling you to get back.
Exactly. Is it true what they say that being a cop or a trooper or whatever is hours upon hours of boredom with a few minutes of sheer terror?
That's it, and that's what a lot of people live for is the adrenaline. Yeah. The thousands of people that I helped through my career, saved lives.
Right.
There's so much more to policing than what you read in the media today.
Right.
And I was blessed in my career. I had my brother, who was a 25-year trooper, spent most of his career on the road. I spent most of my career in crime scene and investigation. So I had about 500 death investigations in about 41 counties, seen everything.
The bad side.
You wouldn't believe what humans do to other humans.
Isn't that something?
Very, very interesting. So we just go like from one homicide, one death investigation to another.
Right. How long was you a trooper, John?
25 years.
25 years. Wow. Well, thanks for your service. I guess you know a few names that I know as talking about connections would be Glenn Solomon, Duck Mays, Ernie Collins.
Yes, know them all.
All of those were character each into their own,
Yeah, they were.
Did you ever get a chance to, I guess you'd call it work the Oak Shores Music Festival out there at Ron Mann's place?
No, I did not.
Okay, I know
I tried to stay away from a lot of that kind of stuff. I was more into drug interdiction. We worked a lot of the cartels out of Mexico.
Right.
A lot of the other troopers like to work those kind of things in the crowds and stuff.
Yeah, kind of a volunteer thing too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
volunteer. I know we had a lot of sheriff department guys out there and state guys out there.
Yeah,
had a lot of fun out there. Listened to a lot of good music out there.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, what's your take on that movie, Super Troopers?
It was funny.
Right.
And the problem with most of these shows is you really don't get a clue or a sense of what the job actually is.
Right.
When you start watching Cops or some of the ID channels, that's exactly what's going on. Although we're not solving a crime in 30 minutes.
Right.
It take months, but.
Right. It's you're right. The movies, they, of course, put the spin on it or whatever, but that was a funny movie. I actually had pulled up a couple of clips I thought about using in the post editing, but I finally nixed that and decided to go a different route. Being a trooper or whatever, I'm sure you have because I tell you, I watch a lot of that same stuff on YouTube. The body cam stuff
Yes.
or whatever. So that's the
great.
real. Yeah, that's the
Yes.
real. But do you have any outstanding, memorable, humorous stories that you could relate?
Not offhand. I've got so many stories. I mean, they put out a hit on two or three of our troopers in this area
Oh no.
from the cartels out of Mexico, because I used to work on a team called the Valkyrie team.
Right.
And 5 years I worked for Valkyrie, and that is intercepting the big loads out of the cartels. And we would get 2,000 pounds, 3,000 pounds. We were constantly in federal court. They did put out a hit on our team, so they watched our houses for a while. And to us, that's exciting. That's interesting.
Right, right.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. That's right.
They never did, though.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess in a way you're lucky, because I guess they could have possibly maybe got one or two of you or something, but that's a good thing they didn't. Good thing they didn't.
I mean, one funny story was I was chasing this guy. He was a homicide suspect, and we were running through the backyards of West Frankfort. I had no idea where I was since we weren't on the roads. They kept asking me where I was. I don't know. I'm in somebody's backyard. We're going around the swing set. This guy bails out. He's about 6'6". I'm like 5'9". I chased after him and I caught up with him, and I hit him with my baton so hard it would have took anybody to the ground. Didn't faze him at all. He turned around, looked at me. I thought, oh,
right,
I'm in trouble. And then he just turned around and put his hands behind his back.
Wow.
So you get into a lot of those things that could go really bad. But I was blessed in my career, and nothing really went bad. So
that's good. That's a good thing. Well, I picked out a show. Normally I have the guests pick out two tunes, but I wanted to pick one out on this particular show. And so I think at this point we're gonna insert that in post editing, and but we'll take a listen to it, and we'll be right back.
I got a star on my car and one on my chest, a gun on my hip and the right to arrest. I'm the guy who's a boss on this highway, so watch out what you're doing when you're driving my way. If you break the law, you'll hear from me, I know. I'm a working for the state, I'm the highway patrol. Well, you'll know me when you see me, 'cause my door's painted white, with my siren screaming and my flashing red light. I work all day and I work all night, just to keep it law and order, trying to do what's right. If I write you out a ticket, then you better drive slow. I'm just doing my job, I'm the highway patrol. I'm the highway patrol, the highway patrol. My hours are long and my pay is low, but I'll do my best to keep you driving slow. I'm just doing my job, I'm the highway patrol. Too fast like you shouldn't do, you can bet your boots I'm coming after you. If you wanna race, then get on a racetrack. Well, if you try to run away, I'm gonna bring you back. I'm here to keep all the speeders driving slow. I'm just doing my job, I'm the highway patrol. I'm the highway patrol, the highway patrol. My hours are long and my pay is low, but I'll do my best to keep you driving slow. I'm just doing my job, I'm the highway patrol. I'm just doing my job, I'm the highway patrol.
Well, there you go. How do you like that? Junior Brown and the Highway Patrol.
It's a great job. I recommend it to anybody. The law enforcement career has just been hounded, and they don't deserve any of it. You read all the things that go wrong in the fights, and the police officers getting in trouble, and you're quarterbacking things after the fact. They're the ones that bought the ticket to the dance.
Right,
They would just comply. Nobody's ever going to get hurt. But once you buy a ticket to the dance,
exactly.
somebody's getting hurt. Either the trooper, the officer, or the suspect.
Right.
Bad things happen, but
Yeah.
we didn't choose. We didn't buy the ticket.
Right.
They did.
Right. Well, the thing is, and I try to stay away from politics on this black is black thing here, but it's sad just to see where the country is today. I can't recall any time in my lifetime. I was born in 57. So, I've been around for a few of them that, starting probably with memories with JFK, that when he got assassinated, but I can never remember this kind of turmoil and, defund the police. And I mean, it's just a bad situation,
People have no idea. People have no idea. The men and women that work the front lines every day know what's going on in America. And if you're not on those front lines, you haven't got a clue other than what the politicians are telling you or spreading. None of it's true. What's actually going on.
Yeah. And in today's age, used to, you can't believe what you hear. And now you can't even believe what you see.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So anyway, what sparked your decision to run for mayor?
Well, my dad was mayor for 20 years.
Right.
And I saw what they put him through. I saw how dedicated he was. And I said, I will never get in politics. I will never run for mayor.
Right.
Well, don't say never.
Right.
So the administration before us, they had kind of upset the business community. Three of us businessmen, Jim Rippey, Mike Young, and myself, decided we got to put a stop to this madness.
Right.
They wanted me to run the mayor spot. Okay. So we made that decision because we were mad. Don't make decisions when you're mad. But we made it. We ran, and then we were the dog that was chasing the car. What's he going to do when he catches it? Well, we caught it. And now all the talk had to go to action.
Right.
Within 18 months, we had the city on a good financial footing. All 7 employees that had been laid off were hired back. And we've got a lot of things going. This year alone, we've got $54 million in projects just for this fiscal year going. So we're doing great. We've got them on the right track. It's not been my interest. It's been a challenge. But that's why we ran, is because they made us mad.
Right. How long have you been mayor now?
Since 2017. So I'm in my 7th year.
7th year. Congratulations on that. What were or are some of your major goals as mayor?
Just being more business friendly. Let business do what business does. Get out of their way. Stop this, putting all these regulations on to where they can't function or they can't come to our community. And so you're starting to see some growth. We've got a new manufacturing plant coming in here now with a $60 million investment. Just get out of their way. They know what they're doing. And that's mainly what we're doing. It's just trying to grow the town, because the more we grow Mount Vernon, the more taxes we get through sales tax. And that's what the government runs off of.
Sure.
And as long as we can grow that enough and keep up with inflation, I don't have to raise your taxes.
Right.
Otherwise, the price of toilet paper today is going to cost a lot more than it did last year. And if I have no increase in business and no increase in tax revenues, I've got to come back to you for a raise. To pay these bills. They're your bills. They're not my bills.
Right.
And so we've been blessed. We've been able to bring enough businesses in to keep up with the inflation part of the equation, which you've seen is just tearing everything apart. Supply chain, inflation. It's hurting everybody. All the families, they're trying to decide medicine or food, or it's just horrible what we've got ourselves into now.
Yeah, I heard the other day on one of the talk radio shows down here that they said most people were couldn't handle a $400 emergency expense, a car failure or some kind of an appliance in the home. And I mean, everybody's strapped for the most part, and it's got to change. We got to get back to, $2 a gallon gasoline. And
people can't afford these houses. People can't afford the price of cars today. And
No.
now we're being pushed to go EV, and they're so much higher than a gas powered engine.
Right.
People, the poorest amongst us, they can't afford that kind of stuff. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's true. And then they don't, there's a whole bunch of stuff behind the curtains on the electric car. You've got the mining of the lithium and the cobalt,
Yep.
and completely destructive, terrible scars on the earth. And then you've got the disposal of the batteries. So, what
Yep.
do you do with these giant batteries? And so, electricity being generated, what is it now? About maybe 70% is still coal fired. And, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. I understand that. And I don't get it either. Anyway, what's some of your proudest achievements since you've been mayor?
We're just getting us back on a financial footing where we were going broke. We've got about $8 million in reserves now. That's 7-8 months operating, which is about where we should be. Got everybody hired back. We just built a $12 million new police station, or building a new parks storage facility on the south end of Veterans Park Lake. We've spent close to $1 million on Veterans Park Lake, bringing it back up to where people expect it to be.
Right.
I mean, we put scoreboards on Lincoln Park. We've run new roads all over the place. We're running new roads starting November, completing the 44th Street South all the way down to Culver's on Heritage Road. We've got so many things going. We're just blessed, but everything we're going is geared towards growing this community.
That's good. That's good. Is there anything that you wanted to get done that's for whatever reason it's not happening, and you've tried but you can't get it done?
Not yet. We've got such a great staff and so many professional people that everything we have went after, we have found a way to get it done.
Awesome.
The $12 million police department, they've been trying to get that done for 20 years.
Right.
And we did it. No money really to the taxpayers, kind of pay as you go type thing. So we have $97 million project to replace our water and sewer infrastructure in this community that's 80 to 100 years old. We're $25 million into that project. I mean, the amount of work going on here in Mount Vernon, many other communities come to us. How are you doing this? How are you finding the money to do this? All we're spending our time is on overtime fixing leaks.
Right.
And that's the other thing I'm proud of. We went from a high of 60 to 80 leaks per month our people were handling down to 5 or 8 per month.
That's great. That's
tremendous savings in overtime.
Right.
And people having leaks all over town. So
I can remember the days of, midwinter, man, they'd be out there digging a hole in the ground and the water's freezing on the street, and miserable job. But,
so 15, 20 years, I think we're going to be a shining star in Southern Illinois, because we're going to have our infrastructure finally fixed, and everybody else is sitting around. How do we fund this?
Right. Patching it up. Band-aid, Band-aid.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You say you've been in there since 17, and so I'm trying to calculate at the top of my head 25 years, what year it would be when you finally reach your father's
not happening.
Not happening.
In the 4 years, so my first term of 4 years, we had everything we promised to do in 18 months to complete it.
Wow.
They talked me into running another 4, although I really didn't want to, because we had so many programs going, and they didn't want to see us change direction by another administration. I agreed.
Right.
Well, I'm up in 2025. I had planned to retire then, but I'm under a lot of pressure right now because, like I said, just this year, $54 million in projects.
Right.
They want to keep, everybody seems to be happy. We're going down this path. That's the other thing we did. We removed the Register News building off of the downtown block across from the courthouse.
Man, I was
Everybody
glad.
hated that building.
I cannot imagine why they could have put up a pre-engineered metal building, but with that facade that matched the architecture, and they didn't make them do it.
Everybody hated that. So it was kind of a win-win because downtown development people said what they needed was a plaza. People could gather and eat lunch or listen to music or whatever.
Right.
So we were able to now create a plaza downtown where the Register News building was for the downtown merchants because they're telling us that's what they need, and move that building off that nobody liked and use it for park storage at Veterans Park for all our mowers.
Oh, so you relocated the building?
Have you? So we relocated the building, and two separate projects. People were confusing the two and cost. So they wanted the building removed from Register News. They wanted the plaza. So that was one project.
Right.
Well, now what are we going to do with this building? Put it in the landfill? The engineers said, well, we could probably save it. We got 3 new parks buildings we need to build. Right. We could save maybe 100,000 or more by reusing the steel.
Right.
And let's just take that steel, and we have the original plans for the Register News, and move it over to the park. So that building is being relocated. That steel is being reused, as well as some other things within that building at the park. So we wanted 3 new parks built. 3 new public works buildings. They said, well, why you want 3 new works buildings? Well, when I came on, our fleet was horrible.
Right.
We were buying vehicles from the state auction. Well, the state people give their vehicles to auction when they can't keep them running anymore. So we're buying somebody else's problems. I said, no, stop.
Right.
So we've replaced everything in our fleet, all brand new vehicles. We don't have to have the mechanics we used to have, keeping them going. The parts people were telling me we're replacing parts that weren't meant to be replaced. So now we've got all this brand new equipment, 20 dump trucks, all whatever it is, sitting out in the weather. That's not taking care of taxpayer assets. So we really need buildings, like you see kind of the Illinois Power there on Broadway at 27th Street. Right. They can pull in, be covered. They're covered from the rain and the snow and the elements. So that's why we need all those new buildings now to take care of these taxpayer assets that they would expect us to take care of. Sure. So we've got so many things going. There's like 250 moving parts. Wow. And it's just hard to tell you just what everything we've got going on.
Right. Well, as we spoke earlier, I'm down here in Tampa, and I don't get home but once a year over Christmas. We usually week 10 days because my wife, her mom used to be married to Bill Reaganhart. Linda, you probably know her.
Yeah.
And so she's there in town, and then of course I've got Kimberly and the grandkids, and now my mother is relocated back to Mount Vernon after my dad passed. So it's nice because we can take that entire time for vacation and spend it amongst family in one location. Now I do got one out. I got a son out in California, and I got another daughter out in Richmond, Virginia. So still scattered out everywhere, but at least at Christmas time, there's that common ground we get to go. So I'm excited after hearing what's going on and everything. I'm excited to get to Mount Vernon this Christmas and take a look around, see what's going on with all these projects, and see how things are changing. Every year there's changes when we go back, so it's be exciting.
I think it's an exciting time for our community, and we are growing. We've lost a lot in population through the censuses, but so has many other Southern Illinois communities.
Right.
But I think the new manufacturing facility coming in out of Texas, 60 new jobs, all high-paying jobs,
right?
$60 million investment. So those can only help. So that's the other thing we're doing. They're moving into the old industrial park called Fountain Place.
Fountain Place, yeah.
Fountain Place. Young Trucking just spent millions of dollars putting up new buildings in there. So that place looks horrible. It hasn't been maintained in
Right.
50, 60 years. It had an old wooden sign out there falling down. We want to improve the South Corridor because now we have Love's Truck stops down at the South End. We want to improve that whole corridor. We're going to be running brand new roads down through there, take that old fountain out, put new lighting in, and make it look nice. So that's what I say. You bring up one thing, and I can talk about what we're doing. It's just we're doing something everywhere and in every part of town. I feel sorry for the engineers. We have 2 engineers trying to juggle 60 projects.
Oh man. I'm sad to hear the fountain's going though. That used to be a kind of a gathering place, and that's where you took your box of Tide. And
yeah.
Well, listen, I did ask you prior to the podcast about a song. I think I phrased it like, do you have a suggestion for a theme song? And you said, well, not really a theme song, but I've got one that I do play a lot, and I play it for my wife. So we're going to listen to Mac Davis do "It's Hard to Be Humble."
Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. Well, I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. Remember them words. I used to have a girlfriend, but I guess she just couldn't compete with all of these love-starved women who keep clamoring at my feet. Well, I probably could find me another, but I guess they're all in all of me. Well, who cares? I never get lonesome, 'cause I treasure my own company. Oh, come on now. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble. You're perfect in every way. Can't wait to look in the mirror. I can't wait to look in the mirror. I get better looking each day. Get better looking each day. To know me is to what? To know me is to love me. Must be a hell of a man. Must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard. Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can.
Well, there you go, Mac Davis. It's hard to be humble.
Oh, my wife loves to hear that.
I bet she does. Yeah, and you probably got it on, like on your playlist. You punch a button, off it goes. Yeah. Well, have you considered having anything, like the Roland W. Lewis building? You got any plans for a John Lewis building?
No, sir. But we do have plans for the Roland Lewis building.
Right.
So we built the $12 million police department there. Everybody is really impressed with the looks of it, how it looks. Well, the community center is used constantly. It's 50 years old, 53 years old. We need more meeting rooms. We want it to more complement the outside as the police department is. So it's time to redo that. Right. And what better way than to use the cannabis tax money to provide things that the people wanted. So in our last roundtable with the community, they want a community center, gymnasiums, things like that. So we're going to revamp the community center, bigger meeting rooms, better meeting rooms, possibly a gymnasium, maybe some pickleball courts inside. I mean, so that's a whole nother project that's in the works. No, my name doesn't need to be on anything. And the funny thing about all this is a lot of the people think I'm doing a good job.
Right.
And the only thing I'm doing is everything my father did. He established replacing the water lines, replacing the roads. It was all oil and chip when he came into office. He
Oh
bought
yeah.
the first asphalt machine. Other administrations after his didn't want to spend the money on that. They wanted to spend money on other things. So for 40 years, nothing's been addressed. I'm just
Right.
trying to catch up.
Right.
So I'm not that smart. I'm just, what my dad did was great. We're bringing it back. Let's have decent vehicles for our people to work in, decent roads for our people to drive on, stop all these water and sewer leaks, fix our
Right.
stormwater system. That's all I've been doing.
Just the basics that need to be done, like, just maintenance
That's
work.
it.
It's got to be kept up, or else you spend
My
a way lot more.
My job is to make sure your infrastructure is kept up and you got safe drinking water and police and fire. And that's all government should be doing.
Right.
Not all this other crap.
Right. I know. I agree. I got one other question here I jotted down during our interview. Have you seen or had any problems with illegals there in Mount Vernon?
No.
No.
I will tell you a story. I'm vice president of the Illinois Municipal League. We represent 1,295 communities. We have meetings all the time in Springfield and Chicago. So the ones Governor Abbott has been busing up to the Chicago suburbs, all the mayors that have received them love them.
Okay.
They've already been vetted through ICE,
Right.
given work permits. And he says, these guys want to work.
Right.
And
I would think for the
they're
most
work-
part, for the
they're
most
taking
part,
all the jobs and they can't get anybody to take.
right.
So that's the feedback I'm getting from those men. Here we haven't seen any of that at all, but
Right.
where they are seeing it, they're loving them for the workforce. They're not having any problems because they're not the ones you're going to have problems with. They're not going to get through the vetting process
Right. Right.
to come on into the country.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's a hot button topic. I'm just kind of, let's wait and see what happens. But
Right.
the other mayors in Illinois have told me it's been nothing but good so far.
We're coming up on our time limit here, but there was just one other thing I wanted to get your take on real quick, and that was the gun laws there in Illinois. As you know, here in Florida, it's you don't need a permit any longer to go and conceal carry. However, you do have to be vetted and everything before you can purchase a gun. But I looked to see when it passed. It started, I think, July 1st, and I kind of watched the news to see if anything popped up, like, uh-oh. But there's not been anything. So, any rate, yeah, I'm getting a warning sign says that we're coming up short. So I guess get rid of this. I guess I want to extend my thanks once again, Mayor Lewis, for taking time out of your busy schedule to play with me here on my podcast. It's been very interesting, though, and enlightening, and I hope the viewers enjoy the time that you spent on here. And I will try to stop in and see you this Christmas when I'm in town and shake your hand. Or on the other hand, if you're in Florida, we meet up down there at the Sea Ash or something and have dinner.
Let's do another podcast on guns.
Okay. All right. We can do that. We can do that. All right. Well, I'm going to say so long, and then I'm going to go into editing mode and have this thing uploaded to YouTube. I'll send you a link as soon as I get it uploaded. I've already vetted both of the musical bits, make sure I don't have copyright issues. So we're all good there. So anyway, good day. Have a wonderful weekend. And thanks a lot, John.
I will. Anytime. Talk to you later.
All
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.